Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So the developers over at Mytona have basically released another combat or whatever trailer it is for the video game the day after. And we've actually got some faces to the release of this game. It seems like there's a little bit more seriousness. They've actually introduced some of the, I would say, publisher or PR people, and they've actually shown some more gameplay. But before I even talk any further, I think it's time for them to actually stop playing games and actually bring something that's concrete to the table. Now, what do I mean? For those of you who've seen this game, everybody is already saying that this game is basically taking from the playbook of two very huge, iconic video games. One of them, The Last of Us. The other one, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. And as a Division 2 YouTuber and Division 2 agent, I've been hoping and wishing for the day that a company will come and compete against the Division 2 in a legit way. They don't necessarily have to do everything that the Division does, but at least if they're going to find a niche and try to fulfill it, then they really need to take, this whole competition to a whole different level. Now, what the day before and their studio is trying to do seems like they're trying to fuse the survival aspect that some Division agents or some people who have ever played a Division have wished for, and they're trying to fuse it with that DayZ element because, yes, there are Division agents in this community and from the past game who used to wish that the Division would have like a zombie style aspect to it, something that added the futuristic apocalyptic style thing to it, whereas the Division itself is already in a futuristic sci-fi area and doesn't necessarily have any need for that. And so what they've done with this particular trailer is they've actually shown up and, they've shown some gameplay, they've shown their world and all of the above. And these are only in trailers that we don't necessarily know where they're coming from. Now, why I said that they really need to stop playing games, and this is in a nice way, I'm not trying to be derogatory, is because the standard of marketing in today's world has actually changed, and I will show you proof of that. So when the Division 2 was first announced at E3, officially revealed, I would say, at E3 of 2018, the developers showed up with gameplay. Look at this footage. Julian Garrity is telling the audience that today we have a bunch of guys setting up the game out there, and they're going to show you exactly what it is that you can expect to see when it comes to the Division 2. Now, yes, I get it. The first Division game, there was this big old massive, Ubisoft style trailer of, kind of those 2010s, kind of thing where they even did the Rainbow Six stuff. When Ubisoft will show you this beautiful trailer and then the game will come out scaled at 30 FPS and crap. But with the Division 2, they did not want to repeat that same error, and they brought the gameplay so everybody could get their hands on. So guess what we saw? We saw attendance at E3 that year actually testing out the game. We saw attendance that were in our Division community, people who streamed the game, people who played the game, people who made build videos on the game, actually playing the game. So there was a whole different level of conviction and authenticity to the marketing of the Division 2 than there was for the Division 1. I think that authenticity itself most likely shipped out a bunch more copies just because people saw that this guy was already playing it, like their guy, the guy that was in their group and their clan that ran with them. And I think this is what these developers over at the day before need to bring to the table. And that's why I said they really do need to stop playing games, because the standard at which you're able to bring your game to an audience of gamers is changed. No one, if you even go to the IGN video clip and you look at the comment section, there are very few people who actually believe what they've seen on the trailer, which is something that, because of the past, gamers are now hyper skeptic about any single thing that you show them. Now, I will tell you, I have been most likely the only person that has said this is actually the game. And I know that it actually is the game, but it's the game running on a very high fidelity machine, a machine that many gamers may not necessarily be fond of the price tag, if you get what I mean. But there's nothing else that players will like to see, than this game being played and actually controlled in front of audiences. Put a camera on the person's hand, give them a controller, no mouse or keyboard, just a controller. That's how simple you can get it, and actually have people start playing the game. I mean, yes, the game is going to be on PC. We get it, but, just use a controller. You're bringing it home when you do that. And I think you're going to earn more credibility when that actually does happen, when gamers are able to see that, okay, this is actually something that these people take somewhat seriously. Because until then, all they're doing is doing this song and dance and maybe creating awareness, which there's nothing wrong with. But very soon, you're still going to continue to feed into the hyper-skepticism. And it's not their fault over at Mytona. This is a hyper-skepticism that's been built from other, big, huge publishers, AAA studios, actually making high-end trailers that do not necessarily stand as representatives of their finished product. So I think this is basically where these developers really need to do this. And I say these things because, from as a gamer, and even from somebody who's been making videos on YouTube about, one major game and then other games, I know how players are reacting to these things. I was here on the internet as a YouTuber when the Star Wars Battlefront 2 issue, blew out of proportion. I was also here as a Division 1 player when everybody yelled and said, this is not the game that we were first promised. I think the Division 2, in terms of graphic fidelity, is the Division 1 trailer, basically, because you look at that Division 1 trailer and you look at the Division 2 playing, you can say, okay, I think we probably stepped up our game where we could get the game to look that way. Division 1 was definitely scaled down in terms of everything. I mean, textures, polygons, just, everything was super scaled down. But one thing, about me was I didn't necessarily see that E3 trailer. I didn't even see any of the initial marketing until I had actually started playing the game. So that was another thing that kind of maybe perhaps shielded me from the initial disappointment of having seen the finished product and compared it to what they had actually promised and it not matching. So if they really do have a good product, I encourage them, and I'm sure many in the community encourage them, to go ahead and actually get a gameplay trailer that actually does showcase somebody playing the prototype of what they have and show it to us. And if it's not ready, then they need to basically just make sure that the game is ready rather than market something that's not ready. So at the end of the day, it stays in their court. The ball's in your court. We, as a community of gamers, we would love to play a game that looks just like that. I mean, look at The Division. Beautiful looking game. This is on a PS5, by the way. This is not even like PC when you're basically, doing 120 frames per second. And some people are able to get this game at 4K at 120 FPS. I mean, at that point, you're seeing all kinds of really cool implementations. This is just, basic PS5, at 1080. Nothing special. I mean, so for people to say, oh, this day before doesn't necessarily look like, it really needs to be, I say, nah, man, that is a simplistic way of looking at it. I think the more important thing is when you're looking at it, you really do need to make sure, that they know exactly what it is that they're talking about. So this is the IGN footage, you can see it over here. The game looks like some really decent fidelity. Lighting and stuff is good. I don't think this might make it into this lighting is not going to make it into the game. There aren't a lot of machines that can run stuff like, look at the shadows, very expensive stuff over there. But ideally, it's not going to be too far when they bring the gameplay. So as a studio who's trying to bring a product that seems to be somewhat new, they have to stay away from making that similar mistake that a lot of big studios have made in the past. But these are my thoughts initially. I'm going to keep an eye on this game because they may have something, really hiding in the little corner. They may have something that we don't necessarily know about. And to me, that's going to be fine. I really want to see a game basically say, hey, we can step into your genre. They can tell to the Division, we can step into your genre and we can take a simplified piece of it and use it to be able to establish ourselves. And over time, that's going to give more studios a little bit more, of that a little bit more of that confidence to even continue to, push the envelope. And you never know. An indie studio may eventually at some point be able to create games that are actually at this particular level. Thank you very much for listening. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Talk to you guys in another video. Have a good day. Peace out.